Okay, thank you. Welcome to the Think Like an Employer workshop today. I am so happy that you guys got to join me, and I hope that this proves to be helpful, give you some helpful tips on maximizing your communication when you're with an employer, whether that be applying for jobs or especially talking with employers in person when you're doing site visits, volunteering, prepping for an opportunity, or for externship. So welcome for today. I want to let you know that my name is Martinez-Smith. I am actually the Career Service Representative in the online Boulder Career Services Department, so I welcome you today. For any that might be joining us just now, just want to make sure that you put in your first and last name in the chat so I can make sure and record you. I am going to follow up with a little goodie at the end of the workshop, so I want to make sure that you get yours. And so go ahead and put your name in the chat so I can capture that. And any questions or anything like that, just go ahead and let me know in the chat. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Let me grab that new name here. Okay, wonderful. And then I'm going to go over what we're going to just talk about in the workshop today, have a little bit of fun. Again, my name is Martinez-Smith. I have been career advising in the industry for hospitality management, culinary arts, culinary management, and pastry arts for close to 7 years now in the industry. I know what the employer are looking for. I know what on the employee side, what you guys need to showcase, and we want to make sure that you showcase your value, and that's the whole purpose of the workshop today. So we're going to demonstrate basically how critical it is that you be able to communicate to an employer with what is important to them. And this is very important with your resume, with any applications, and especially interviews, especially site visits and things like that. So this is going to improve your ability to be able to convey value as an employee. Why is that important? Because people want to make sure that if they invest in you, that you're actually someone that they can trust, they have confidence in, that can do the job, whatever level that job is, and that is going to be important. So I want to make sure that you just fine-tune your skills. I already know you're talented. You're here at Escoffier. So I want to make sure that you fine-tune that communication and make sure that you understand how to really get in the mindset of an employer and what's important for them, so that you can be able to maximize that opportunity that you have with them. We're going to maximize that communication. That's what we're going to talk about, what's important to employers, and just matching what the employers want with what you offer. Awesome. We have a communication gap here, and I'm just going to demonstrate that here with this little illustration. Sometimes when we talk about when we're in the job hunt or when we're prepping for externship, which you all will do, is that sometimes we can think about what is a barrier, things that we can't do. It's so easy to do that first. So if we're looking at it from that perspective, I will tell you that you're cutting yourself short of opportunities, because if you only think about it from your perspective, then you're not really getting into the mindset of what's important to an employer. It might be kind of obvious, but it's going to make a lot of common sense. If you think about, oh, I can only work on these days and times, or I can only work for so many hours a week, and I just want a place where I can just practice my skills and that type of thing, and I need to make so much, or it needs to be a paid opportunity. So if you think about it only with your stipulations, then you're not really getting into the mindset of an employer. You're not really showing your value. So an employer's perspective is this, is I need somebody who's responsible, who's dependable. I need somebody who's going to be available. I need somebody that I can count on. I need someone who knows the basics of safety and sanitation, knows the basics of mise en place, the fundamentals of setting up and breaking down the station, FIFO, basic labeling, things like that. And I want to know that they're going to be able to understand, cost, waste, food waste management, food costs, things like that, because if they do, that's going to guide them in how they work in the kitchen. So that's from the employer's mindset. So we see that there's like a big gap here in the illustration. And now we're going to try to close that gap. with focusing on what's called like employer speak. And so we want to definitely use a frame of reference. What's important to that employer? And we want to make sure that that employer can see that we understand what's important to them. So by focusing on what you can do, that's going to be very important. I want to always make sure that you're in the mindset of a win-win proposition. You can't go out there and talk with employers and business owners with a one-way proposition. This is to help me. I'm here to get an externship opportunity because I need to graduate, because I need to get this done. And so it's about taking instead of offering or giving. And so my most unhappiest students are the ones that go out into the industry and start wanting to take something from employers. And it's not that they're doing that on purpose, it's just that they're thinking of what they need. And so it's coming off like you're not there to offer anything. So I want you to get into the mindset of what you can offer. So if you start to go in with, okay, I can't work this or that, I want you to change that mindset. And I want you to say, this is what I can do. These are the days I can work. This is how many hours I can put in. Because then when it translates to the employer is thinking, oh, okay, this person is telling me what they can do. And that's what I want you to go in with, what you can do, not what you can't do. Because the employer is going to hear what you can do. They're going to be like, okay, this person is going to put work first. This person is, a professional. They understand priorities. And if you start to say, hey, I'm highly dependable, I'm one that can be responsible and all of that, you have your professional background to show for it, okay, that employer is going to just translate that into the fact that, hey, this person knows business is business and they need to be here. There's going to be no call-offs. If you say, oh, my motto is I clean as I go, I'm organized, I understand that, great. The employer is going to focus on, okay, wonderful, this person gets it. This person understands that time is the enemy in the kitchen, and if I can reduce that training time, I like them. I like you. And then if you also talk about maybe what you know as far as food cost management, maybe food waste, that type of thing that you understand that's important to you, then the employer is going to understand that's wonderful. This person isn't going to be wasteful with what they do in the kitchen. And that's awesome because now you're closing that employer gap. Woo, gone. That employer gap is gone. So we're closing that gap and now we're making a connection. Now the employer understands and sees that you are very valuable. So even when you know the fundamentals, even when you're just starting out in the industry and you understand those fundamentals, that's like gold. Because those fundamentals don't change no matter what kitchen you go in, no matter what cuisine you're working with. They do not change. So that's going to be really important for you when it comes to talking to employers and having them understand that you understand the business. Okay. I have a question for you. Who is the most important person in the business of culinary and pastry arts, in the business of the industry? Who is the most important person? Give you a minute to think about that. You can type it in the chat if you think you know. Is it the executive chef? Is it the owners? Is it the investors? Is it the cuisine? Is it your pricing? What is the most important component in your industry? Can anyone take a wild guess and put it in the chat? Oh, DeAndrea, love you. Hello. Yes, it is. Customer. It is the customer. The customer is the #1 component in your industry, in our industry. It is the #1 component. The customer drives that business. Everything is about that customer. So I want you to think of it that way. The more that you know and understand that, the more you're going to understand the business. And I say that now because on this slide, we're talking about the basis of employer speak. It's called business speak is really what it is. And it's about the customer. So everything we're doing is making sure that that customer is taken care of. Everything that happens in that kitchen. It's not about the orders we're taking. It's not about how the chef talks to us. It's not about any of that. It's really everything is put in place in that kitchen so that everything goes with the customer. Okay, customer is the number one. If you're just getting here, just a reminder to put your name in the chat so that I can go ahead and make sure that I give you your goodie at the end of the workshop and I get you counted into attendance. So the business speak is, do you understand sales, that there has to be sales, definitely. Decreasing costs, reducing waste, improving throughput, that's the processes in the kitchen, minimizing turnover, improving that teamwork, enhancing consistency, cleanliness, customer satisfaction, minimizing overtime. This is the basis of what that is really important to employers. And you can understand this. So even you don't have to be like a business owner to even understand these things. You can actually put down this understanding very simply, even with your resume and with your application. How do we do it in a resume? You want to make sure that you are showing value in the fact that you know how to, two things that employers, I'll give it to you in a nutshell. What this is all about is employers and business owners want to make money and they want to save money. Are you showing that when it comes to your conversations and talking to employers? Are you showing that? Are you showing that in your resume? That you understand that. Because if you are, you're definitely speaking to an employer's business heart. The fact that, and all of these processes that are listed here are really showing that. Making money, saving money. Customers are at the center point of the industry. So that's awesome. Okay. Moving on, we talk about hard skills here. What do employers want? Hard skills are the definition of the skills relating directly on what you need in order to do the job. Knife skills, cooking techniques, equipment familiarity. These are fundamental skills, guys. These are anything a career changer can do. When you're coming into school, this is what you're practicing. When it comes to knife skills, there are different types of knife skills as far as dimensions, measurements, even terminology. Do you know those? Well, you will if you practice. What about some cooking techniques? What do we mean by that? Braising, roasting, sauteing, grilling, frying, blanching, we can go on and on. Those are all cooking techniques. These are hard skills. Equipment familiarity. So do you know your way around a kitchen? Equipment ID, warmers, ovens, different things, mixers, all that kind of thing. Kitchen terminology, recipe scaling, volume, being able to understand the volume, measurements, measurement conversions. For my pastry people, that's important. Decorating, finishing off product, scoring if you're a bread person, proofing, that type of thing. Sanitation knowledge, safety and sanitation, number one in the kitchen. Safety and sanitation, very important. That never changes. You need to learn the basics and be very familiar with the basics. And you will when you give yourself the opportunity to practice. When you practice these basics, that's going to be important. Product ID. Do you know the basic herbs and spices? Do you know that? What about mother sauces and daughter sauces? Do you know those as well? Baking techniques also. Very, very important. These are the hard skills. Your resume should have the hard skills. And so even if you're a career changer or new to a career, you're coming to school, you're actually practicing this. So I would expect that towards the end of your program, even now, you can definitely put in some hard skills because you would have done that in school. It's like, you know, when you come out of school or you're about to finish school, it's like, okay, when I look at a resume and I review resumes and I'm looking at what did you do while you were in school for the past 9 months? Did you volunteer somewhere? Did you practice some fundamental skills? Because you should. That's going to be important. Even if you want your own business, that's going to be very, very important. So you want to be able to practice these. You want to be able to have these on your resume. If you don't have these on your resume, that's a big red flag. But if you have these on your resume, thumbs up. That's a green light. This person understands the fundamentals. Very important. What about soft skills? So soft skills are something that it would be towards like open to criticism, attention to detail, interpersonal communication. How are you within a team? Are you able to communicate well, have enthusiasm for the job, leadership skills, maybe some organization, decisive under pressure. Are you able to work in a fast-paced environment, understand that, and really have commitment? Some of these school can't teach you. School can't teach you to have a positive attitude, to have a sense of passion, enthusiasm. School can't teach you that. You have to come with that. And if you're in school, I naturally know that you already have these things. And there are some of these things that you have had maybe with other industries if you're a career changer or new to the industry. And that's something important too. So you want to bring out some soft skills, even when it comes to talking with employers about what's important to them. So that's how you can connect the dots between what you've done in the past or what you're doing right now if it's out of the industry, but it's something that the industry respects. Being decisive under pressure, yes, you probably have used that soft skill in another industry, but our industry respects that, so it would be good to bring that out. Having some leadership skills is important, organization, teamwork, having attention to detail, very important. So you could have used these in other industries, and it's okay for that to be brought out, even in a conversation, especially on a resume, for sure. Okay, so transferable skills, they're so important that I want to bring out that when you are in externship, there is going to be a mini evaluation that your supervisor is going to rate you on a scale of 1 to 5. And transferable skills are on there along with the hard skills, but professionalism, sociability, time management, work ethic, and reliability. So you are going to be rated when, you know, in these areas when you are in externship. It comes with your time card. So it's very important that you have the power of 3. And I say my most successful graduates and students get to where they want to be. They are the ones that display 3 traits. And I call it the power of 3 because it has a lot of power behind it. Everyone that is successful that gets to where they want to be has displayed this while they're in school, and definitely they do it while they're out of school. But number 1, they always show professionalism. Number 2, they always have a proactive nature. They're very proactive. And number 3, they have a passion for the craft, and they show it. They show their passion for the craft. And so that is something that you can even show in writing, and you can even show in person as you're engaging, as you're communicating with business owners and on site visits and volunteering experiences, staging. Staging is just a French term for volunteering in the kitchen. When you're out there staging for employers, you're building up that experience, you're building up that resume. And so I want you to always showcase yourself with the power of 3, because I haven't spoken with any employer that has not wanted to work with a student or graduate that showed the power of 3. Professionalism, proactiveness, and a passion for the craft. You're going to draw people to you. They're going to want to find an opportunity for you. I have a lot of experience, thousands of students I've helped, and I want to share that with you because don't lose sight of that. If you start to lose sight of one or all 3 areas, you're going to find yourself a little displaced. But you can pick it back up, You can pick yourself back up and make sure that you always show that power of 3, because it's going to get you to where you want to be. Okay, so where can we find employers speak? Where can we find what employers want? Well, it's definitely in the job description. That is just out there. The job description and job postings are just an employer's wish list. That's what they are. And it's important to really look at that wish list. What I like to coach students to do is, if there's a certain type of position that you really feel that you excel at in your career, I say look up job postings and actually start to study those job postings and see how many qualifications you measure up to. And if you don't, which a lot of us don't, when we, our career path is a process, it is a path, you can work towards that. And so you can work towards being marketable. And you can do that in different ways. But you want to really understand qualifications and what job duties are, because this is what employers are looking for. And you're going to find a consistency. You're going to start to find the same things over and over again, and you're going to see that that's important. That's important to many employers. We went over the fundamentals. All of those fundamentals are important. So look at those job descriptions. We'll just take, for example, Sodexo, an international company that actually employs a lot of back of house positions for different businesses, educational institutions, and companies all around the world. And so if we look at their basic food service worker, we're looking at responsibilities. What are their responsibilities? What are they asking for? So that's in red there. And then in green is going to be the soft skills. So we could see in red, it's going to be the hard skills that we talked about, those direct skills for doing the job, reading recipes, weighing, measuring, mixing, washing, peeling, cutting, grinding, stirring, straining, seasoning, all of that, storing food, keeping records, and following rules, policies, and regulations, basic cooking, and safety and sanitation. If we look at the other side of their job description, we're looking at skills and aptitude. Now we're looking at soft skills. Okay, they're looking for a positive attitude. They're looking for someone who can communicate well with all levels of their team members and management, being professional, one that can adapt to changing priorities in the kitchen. If adapting is hard for you, practice it. You need more volunteer experience in a kitchen if that's hard for you, because you're going to need to turn on a dime in a kitchen. You're going to need to adapt to changing priorities in that kitchen. If you've done it in your work life, or you're doing it now in your work life, and adaptability is part of your job, A+, you're doing really good. You're going to do good in the kitchen. Being open to learning, very important. You have to be open to learning and be able to follow directions, high standards, flexible schedule, complying with dress code, and going along with their schedule. You can see what they're looking for there. So yeah, being dependable and responsible, all very important. If we look at a pastry cook position, it's the same type of thing, attention to detail. Maybe they want some creativity, organized, leadership. Those are soft skills. Now in the red, we're focusing on what the hard skills are. So now it's like direct doing the job, sanitation, food prep, knowledge of baking ingredients, and maybe a certificate in culinary arts or baking. So that's directly. So look at those job descriptions. Those are going to be very, very important for you, those job postings. Now we have a way of uncovering your employer speak skills, and this is a little finder where you can help yourself out. And in this skills finder, there's some questions here. What were your performance goals, and what skills did you use to meet or exceed them? This is now going to take you through something that can actually help you gauge yourself on whether it's hard skills you have or soft skills that you have. And now anybody who's coming into the industry for the first time, continuing, or even a career changer, this type of form can really help you analyze yourself and help you to see where you fall. So if you think about your value, this is what we're trying to get, is how valuable are you? And now we're going to look at some questions here that is going to help you reflect on where you are professionally. So how did you become the first, best, or most effective in any particular function? How do you regularly meet deadlines? And if you messed up on the job, how was your business affected? That type of thing. So, and what are you known for on the job site? So these types of questions, if we start to think about them, answer them, it's going to help us to know our value, okay? And that's what we're trying to do, is we want to make sure that you always put forth what your value is to that employer. And so this type of cheat sheet is something that I am actually going to email each of you so that you can actually fill this out. And you can have this first, because this is going to help you when you talk to others, whether it be for a volunteer position, whether it be for a stage opportunity, whether it be for applying for jobs. You want to always make sure that you have your value in front of you. What are your strengths? You know, that type of thing. And this is what this type of cheat sheet is going to help you to determine. All right, so employer speak really gets us heard. It really gets us hired. And when you think about that communication connection, you're looking at the left-hand side of this illustration, which says what you have, and then on the right side circle, it's what the employer is looking for. So you can see that there's a connection now. When you can put this all together and say, wow, okay, think of the hard skills, even if you just learned them in school and you're practicing them. Wow, you know, I'm really learning kitchen equipment, how to work with them. I'm learning the cooking techniques of frying, broiling, maybe pantry stations, cold stations, garnage. I'm working really in a team spirit, really, you know, looking to do that, and I'm executing consistently on my knife skills. They're getting better. I'm using those knife skills to produce some menu items and some plate presentations. Even if it's just in school, it's still experience. So how that translates to an employer now is, wow, this person really has a knowledge of equipment ID. They know how to work with others. They're getting proficient with their knife skills. That's awesome. And they're executing some menu items consistently and with accurate results, and they have high standards for their plating. So that's how an employer is looking at that. So when you start to actually say that, when you actually start to display that in writing and verbally, you're going to be on your way to getting an opportunity, is being able to put that all together. See that? Awesome. Right. All right, so I'm here to answer any questions that you may have. Does anybody have any questions at this time? You can either type them in the chat or you can unmute yourself and ask me directly. Everyone seems to be okay? Okay, awesome. If you're okay, I want to let you know that each of you has a career service representative assigned to you to help you with your career goals and help you to develop some marketability and value, even as a student. Yes, even as a student. You can start to build up your marketability. You can start to build up your resume with experience, and your career service representative can help you do that. We help with goal setting, letting you know about the industry, do some resume enhancement. We'll do some resume reviews and development with you. We'll do some mock interviewing, even some role playing when it comes to some site visits, and do a strength assessment. You can get advice regarding externship or any questions related to that. Also with job leads as well, and just some straight up moral employment support, because that's what we need, guys. Career services at escoffier.edu is where you can send your email, and we will have your career services representative reach out to you and help you out one-on-one with anything you have going on. So we're here to help you guys while you're in school, and we're so happy to have you in school, so that we want to see you get to where you want to be and use your certificate the way you want to use it. So if there's no other questions at this time, I want to say thank you so much for joining me today. It was a pleasure meeting all of you, and I will be actually sending you out that little mini form that we talked about, your strength finder, I will be emailing each of you that strength finder. So I appreciate your time today. Thank you so much, and have a good rest of the day. Bye, guys.